Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Pitch Perfect Live. I am your host and coach, Nicci Willis, and every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I bring on a brand new business leader and I help improve their pitch. Why? Because there are tons of entrepreneurs out there who are extremely good at what they do. But when it comes to people asking them, so what do you do? Or pitching their business in general, it doesn't land. Or they're simply leaving money on the table. And we don't want that. We don't want you to have just an expensive hobby. You're extremely good at what you do. So it is time for you to sharpen up that pitch, make sure it's landing, and make sure that people not only lean in, but say yes. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Listen, if you have never been to a Pitch Perfect Live episode, then this is your lucky day because I've got 30 minutes with this next guest that's coming up for her to bring me her pitch. We're going to tweak it based on my narrative pitch framework. All right. Now, if you haven't seen that yet, definitely go back, watch a few of my episodes. I go through this entire framework. And it's all about the narrative story. So I'm excited to have this next guest on. If you want to be a guest on my show, just go to NicciWillis.com, and that's NicciWillis. Click on Pitch Perfect Live, click on the apply button, and you just might be the next person in the hot seat. I'm always looking for guests to come and join me live so that we can fix their pitch. So we are getting ready to get started, y'all. Also, I want to let you know that I have a pitch readiness assessment. Now, you might be sitting here watching me thinking, well, I don't know if my pitch is ready or not. Well, listen, I can take care of that for you. That pitch readiness assessment is actually in the description of this video. So scroll down just a little bit, of course, after this episode, and click that assessment. You'll answer a few questions, and it's going to tell you how strong your pitch is. And then I've got more resources coming up, and you definitely want to stay tuned for that. So this is a free assessment for you. Definitely take that. And that way you can stay tuned for some really cool resources that I've got coming up soon. But anyway, enough of me talking, y'all. It is time to bring on my guest, Angela. Welcome to Pitch Perfect Live.
Thank you, Nicci. Oh, I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad. You know, people get on here, they're nervous sometimes, but I love when somebody is excited. That's what makes me excited. And even if you're nervous, that's okay, because nerves mean that you care. So we're going to turn all of that energy into something really great tonight. What I want to do right now, those of you who are watching, just know you can comment, and I read all of the comments. I love when you guys comment. Our audience is extremely helpful. They give hearts and likes and all the things. So welcome you guys who are watching live. Also, if you're rewatching this, make sure you comment as well. I love reading your comments. And like I said, you guys are awesome. But right now we're going to do the open mic. As you can see, because I don't want to give it away. I never want to give it away. That's the fun thing about this. But your title, this is the founder of Clabiorne Business Services. But in fact, the services that you provide are scholarship services. All right.
Okay. Educational consulting.
All right. Educational consulting, y'all. Come on now. Yes. All right. So this is also why I love doing these episodes, because we bring on some incredible entrepreneurs. And if you're looking for that service, I'm going to make sure that her contact information is in this description. It'll be out the next day. So you'll be able to get her information, click on it, and be able to book her if you need her. All right. Angela, are you ready for the open mic? Oh, somebody said hi, Angela.
Hi.
Thank you, Jacqueline. All right. Are you ready for the open mic?
Yes.
All right. This is the time where I zip it and I will let you give your pitch. Now, for context, let me ask you this. What will be a win for you tonight?
A win for me tonight would be just being able to get this whole idea maybe lined up so that I can actually go out there and start conducting whatever next is next in line for me to do with the business, whether it's structuring workshops and things like that.
Okay. All right. So you just kind of want to know the next step in order to get in front of your ideal client.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. Oh, my last question. In terms of who we call on this show, your hero, your ideal client, who are you pitching to tonight?
I'm pitching to youth organizations who work with young people, even if they're not necessarily young, but they're somebody who wants to change professions, wants to go to college,
Okay.
wants to go to trade school.
Okay.
That's who I'm pitching to.
Okay. So who am I?
You are either the youth organization.
Okay. Am I like the director?
Yes, you would be the
Okay.
director or the person who makes the decisions whether or not I can come speak at your organization.
Okay, got it. Ooh, I'm a decision maker. Let's go. All right. So for context, everybody, this is going to be a B2B. So we have had B2C, which is business to consumer. This episode is specifically a business selling services to another business. So if you are a B2B, make sure you stay tuned for this one. This one's going to be a good one for you. All right. I am putting my youth organization director hat on. And Angela, it is time for the open mic. I'm going to take these copious notes here and you go for it.
Okay. At Clabiorne Business Services, I want to partner with youth serving organizations to help underserved students navigate college and trade school applications and access to scholarships and grants.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I want that to be the main focus. I say, and then now underserved does not necessarily mean a lot of people are not being served in school, or nobody's telling them the opportunities they have once they are out of high school. Okay. So that's where trade school, can fall into the whole play.
Okay, so let's walk through the framework. Here I was, Angela, getting ready to take all these notes, and your pitch was so quick.
10 seconds.
It was super fast. Okay. So what you said was you essentially provide education services to students who want to go to either college or trade schools.
Yes.
And when you say educational services, you're saying scholarships, what else?
Grants.
Okay.
Helping them even down to finding a school that meets the needs that they have.
Okay. Finding a school. Okay. All right. So what I also heard you say, you mentioned a gap here. You mentioned the current education system in general, as a whole, has counselors that are essentially overwhelmed at their school. So these children essentially are not being served at their school if they have any interest in additional education outside of the 12 years that they get.
Yes, but I'm not saying they don't have, well, everybody is not being served that could be served. And we know why, because there's a teacher shortage, there's a shortage of administrators, and there's sometimes they're just overwhelmed. And that's what I would like to do. So that's the gap.
Okay. So there's a shortage of counselors. Okay. Now, so here is, I heard we've identified who you're specifically trying to talk to. Your hero is the director of a youth organization. Your goal is to bring is to bring these services in terms of being a speaker. You want to talk to the parents. And that is your goal. The services that you offer are scholarship, grants, helping students actually find schools, and a few other services. And then you mentioned that the gap is, lack of these opportunities in certain underserved areas.
Right. And then the other thing I want to make sure that I throw in there are some students who don't have a primary person. They may have been, foster care, emancipated minors. I want to be able to have, help them too, because they're people who probably don't have a person who parent or parental figure it could be that you're just living with this person. And this person is just providing shelter for this young person until they age out of the system.
Right. So here's the thing. If we're talking to this youth organization director, we need to figure out what the pain point is for the director. So that we haven't identified yet. Because what this pain point needs to do is, man, I need to bring Angela in here so she can talk to these parents, so that she can present this information to these students. Let's go back and look at what is the pain point for this youth organization director, because that's who you're trying to sell to.
The pain point would be you have a youth group. And you have a plethora of young people who are maybe gifted, may have different talents, but once you talk to them, you find out that, maybe they don't have a path, or nobody's talked to them about their path.
Okay.
So we need to open them up to what it is their possibilities can be.
Okay. Love that. Now we're starting to see. Now I can see, because if I'm a youth director, if I'm a youth organization director, that's my main job, is to fill these gaps for the youth that I'm in charge over, if you will, right? I've got a specific budget, and my job is to fill as many gaps as I possibly can, whether it be education or athletics, extracurricular, arts, all of these things. Okay. So let's see. So we know what your turning point is, or what your solution is. Your solution is to help this youth organization director fill the education gap. Whatever that sector is for them, or whatever that pillar is for them, that is your turning point. So let's go back to that conflict a little bit more, and let's paint that picture even more. Because I, as a youth director, I'm not convinced. How do I get more convinced that, man, I need Angela to come in here and speak? What am I seeing on a day-to-day basis?
You're probably seeing young people who if you talk to them, they may not have a plan for the future.
Okay.
This is my biggest thing that I don't like to hear, and I was guilty of it too. I don't like to hear when parents say, what's your plan? How do they have a plan if you didn't do anything to set them up to know that they needed a plan?
Okay. So this is good, because here you can find commonality in that same pain point with the organization director. Because they've probably heard the same thing too. And isn't that ironic that you have that same care, or that same issue, where you said, one of my biggest pet peeves is when a parent asks a student, what is your plan? And they haven't even provided them with the answer, or they haven't provided them a path.
Right.
Don't you feel that same way?
I was guilty as a parent too, and I had to get past that.
And I was guilty as a parent. Now you're also bringing in the authority factor, where you're saying, I lived that experience as well. And I'm here to say, as now an expert, that's the wrong question to ask these students.
Yes.
Okay. So let's put that in there, that commonality. So taking that, you can find that commonality and find that opening. We need to find that opening with the youth director.
Okay.
This youth director is most likely being inundated with all kinds of people who want to come and talk to their students, who, want to either do something with athletics or with arts or education like yourself. So how do we get that director to talk back to us? Because we need to figure out what other gaps are they looking at that you can solve here. That make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you said, let's see, you said you were guilty of it too. Talking to my student, asking them,
But what's your plan?
plan.
But maybe at the time I hadn't given him, a little, look, you can go to trade school, you can go to college. What is it you want to do? Yeah. I didn't do that at first, but then once I, did research, I was like, okay, this is what we can do. We can apply for this scholarship, this grant. I mean, and it just starts to fall into place, but you have to at least address it from a standpoint of, let's stop asking them, what are you going to do after high school? Yes. And start saying, these are your options. And this is what we can do with those options.
Okay. So what do you believe, in your expert opinion, what do you believe these youth directors already have at their disposal?
They already have probably a lot of children on different levels, from different backgrounds.
And what is the solution that they already have at their disposal for these students right now?
They probably have someone who does come in and talk to them, but maybe not one-on-one, to actually, maybe build a program around like the program as a whole.
Okay.
But
so they don't have a program at all.
Well, they may have a program, but it's not curtailed to go deep into, hey, this person, all these people over here want to go to trade school. They want to go to trade school for this, this, and this. This is what this is available for. So we can break it down.
Okay. So this is perfect, because what we need to do, this is where we need to ask a ton of questions. Ton of questions.
Right.
And a lot of times our pitch can consist of questions, really direct questions that will essentially help, in your case, the youth organization director answer their own questions. And uncover that you are the person for the job. So that's the reason why I wanted to go back and ask you, what do you believe that they are already doing for the students? Because if you can uncover what they're already doing, and the question, and this is how you pose the question. I'm curious. I'd love to know, what are the current education and scholarship programs that you've got available for the students? I'd love to know.
Okay.
And if you even want to make it an even lighter tone, you could say, and I'd love your honest opinion on how you think they're going, or which one is your favorite? Which one is your favorite? Because now you're not selling anything. You're just trying to get as much information as you possibly can from this youth director.
Okay.
I'd love to know the current education programs that you have for your students, particularly the ones that are looking to either go to college or a trade school after high school. If it's already on their website, so here's a note. If it's already on their website and you've done the research before your meeting, you can say, I noticed these are the programs that you currently have available. And then one of my favorites, on a scale to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not so great, 10 being these are fantastic programs, what would you rate these programs? How would you rate each one? And here you're getting that information, because if they say a 10, well, what makes it a 10? But if they say anything below a 10,
right,
now you see that there's a gap here. Well, what would make it a 10? Well, if someone could do one-on-ones, or the program itself is inconsistent, or if if we could bring in people from a certain school, or however, you're now seeing exactly what you would need to provide in terms of what your services are.
Okay.
You tracking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in terms of this youth organizations directors conflict and their pain point, what we really need to see is where are the gaps in what they are already offering. If they have nothing in place, fantastic. You've got a whole, you can skate on through there and say, wonderful.
Okay.
I've got some ideas for you. And then let's see. Our pitch can consist of questions, 100%. Yes, maybe. How do you address? Oh, I love that one. How do you address? I love our audience. Y'all are the best. You guys are awesome. How do you address? So how do you address scholarship problems or scholarship opportunities? How do you address those who haven't decided if they want to go to college or or a trade school? Let's see. And someone says that she provides career readiness information, resources, and skills. Yep. There is that turning point. That is what you provide: career readiness, information, resources, and skills. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so here we are. Next up, what we need to look at is the transformation part, the part that makes the youth director actually care about what you are trying to present. Okay. So what we want to do now is paint the after. So if you're saying, listen, I've been there, I've been that parent that's asking, what the child's plan is, and there really isn't a plan. We've asked questions and said, I'd love to know what it is that you currently offer, or asking the question, as one of our audience members said, how do you address scholarships, or how do you address getting grants or choosing a school? So now this ideal client has opened up a little bit more. They've told you how they're currently addressing certain things. They've also told you if it's doing well or not. This is when you can say, that's where I come in. We provide career readiness and what did we say? Career readiness and scholarships, funding,
resources.
Yes, and resources for students. The ones that, just like the ones that you're serving right now. So that this is where the transformation comes in, and what we call the resolution. We want to paint the after. And in this case, we either want them to look like the hero, and the hero in the eyes of the parents and the students, or they're most likely trying to save money or make money here, because we're talking B2B. So we want them to either say, wow, I can bring this to the parents, to the students, or wow, this can actually solve a problem in the business that I'm trying to run. Okay, so what does that part look like? Because here you are, you have these services. What does it look like for this youth director after you've come in and you've provided these services? What does it look like? What does their day look like?
Well, like you said, they'll look like the hero because they've established a program where they can shine because they here they are presenting these students with these life skills,
Mm-hmm.
options for their next level,
Mm-hmm.
and how to actually um, execute all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a full circle moment.
Yes. Full circle moment. Um, and if you learn that one of the gaps is simply for them, uh, resources, uh, capacity, all the things as well.
Right,
So now they're providing a solution and they don't have to overextend in in their capacity.
right.
That's huge too. How can I, because most of these student organization directors are at capacity. They are
Yes.
they are inundated, right, with all the things that they have to do, all of these things that they have to do. And now, well, if I can bring Angela in and her services, I can actually provide something without wearing myself out,
Overextending.
without burning
Mhm.
out. Mhm. So that's on a personal note, but then also saying I don't have to hire a completely different person, put them on payroll, all of that stuff. I
Right.
can just bring in this person and they can serve the families that we have.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Mm. Ooh, child, y'all taking notes because I am taking
I
so many
am
notes right
taking,
now.
I got a lot of notes too.
Okay. Let's see here. So the last thing I do want to address, um, I I do believe in terms of your credibility as the author of this story. I believe that that can land really well for you. One, you already mentioned it. You talked about how you, as a parent, suffer the same things that these current parents are doing in terms of not having a plan, and then you fixed it yourself, right? And
Yes.
now you're starting to serve other parents, all over and serve their students. So that as your voice and as your authority, wonderful. Keep that. But now uh, we have to address the call to action, which was currently non-existent.
Yes.
Okay, so
Well, call to action, you mean as a whole, not what I do, like I've been doing one off here and there. You mean as for the organization, right?
yeah, for this
Okay.
director,
Okay.
what do you want this director to do? What do you want from this director? What do you want this director to do? Because you
I
just say,
want
hey, here's what I do. All right, bye.
no, what I want them to do is I want them to say, hey, this is a need that we have. And
Okay.
I feel like you are bringing me a package and you can fulfill that for us. And it
Okay,
may
so
be different.
what do you want them to do? What is the next step for them to take?
I want them to, well, probably find out what the needs of their students are.
Ah, okay. So we need to book a time for you to come back and observe the current program
Program
that they have.
or the lack thereof.
So since we want to stay positive, we're just going to do a discovery meeting.
Okay.
So what I want to do is book a discovery meeting and observe the current programs that you are currently offering. And then get them on the books right then and there. How often do you run this particular program? And if not, if they don't even have a program, I tell you what, I'd love to sit down with a small subset of your students and just do a quick discovery, a focus group.
A focus group. That's
Yeah, I'll provide the students and their parents if they can,
mm-hmm.
right? We'll provide some snacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they always come for snacks.
Yeah, we'll provide the snacks. But let's get on the calendar and do that. I'll need 90 minutes. And give me, give me 10 students and their families. Because we don't want to leave without having something concrete.
Okay.
If they're not willing to even do that, you can also say, hey, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you and I meet again? And we can look through the program that you currently have. Just you and I. But some type of discovery meeting so that you can actually see and diagnose what the actual issue is or what the actual gaps are. Because I have no doubt that the services that you offer are awesome. You have tons of students that you've worked with one-on-one. So that's not, you got it. Now we need to do it on a larger scale and we need access to that. So this director, this decision maker has the access to that. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. All right, so let's go back to see what we've got.
Look.
Yes. Okay, any questions? Are there any questions that you got?
It's given me a whole different perspective of how to approach it, because I wasn't thinking of I wasn't really thinking of the direct approach, but you've opened the door to kind of say, no, you can go in and say, hey, I want to know what your programs are, and and see what they say, or is there any way I can come in and work with a certain subset of kids just to see?
And you don't want to say, is there any way?
No, say, I'd like to. Can I please allow me?
Well, not even please allow me. You're the expert here. The youth director, they are focused on the student as a whole. Mm-hmm. You specifically have your expertise in the career development, secondary education, higher education sector. That is what you do. So coming from that authority, you say, hey, listen, let's take a look at the current programs that you have, and let's see how we can better serve these students. Period. Would you be open to? Is a better question, instead of would you allow me?
Okay.
Can I? Because they can obviously say no.
Right.
But would you be open would you be open to a discovery meeting with a handful of your students and their parents and their guardians? Would you be open to a discovery meeting next week, lunch on me, and we can see the current programs that you're offering? That's it. But would you allow me? Can I, now we're asking permission.
No, and I don't need permission.
They'll either say, oh, well, I'm not. No problem. I tell you what, I know some other youth directors out here. I'd love for you to introduce me to your top 3, not the ones you don't like, the ones you like. And would you do an introduction email for me? I want to help as many youth directors like yourself out here with and give them my expertise. I'm only trying to make you guys look good. See? And so therefore we're not, we're coming in with authority, period. That's it. That's it. Good question though. So we say, hey, Angela, thanks so much for taking this call. Quick question. What are the current, can I ask you about the current services that you're offering in terms of career development and uh, secondary education or higher education? So what are you currently offering? Okay. Now, those are some pretty good programs. I've heard of a couple of those, but I'm going to ask you personally on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best? What would you say? How would you say these programs are actually working in your organization? Because I know where we are here. Okay. So you're saying it's a 6. Okay. Well, what would make it a 10? I see. Okay. So not just the consistency, but also the actual resources that they're providing. Okay. Well, that's funny because that's actually where my business comes in. We provide these specific services for the students and their guardians to make sure that they're on the right path. And we partner with youth organization directors like yourself so that you're not overextended, but you are partnered with someone who is an expert in these services and therefore serving the students. And I know you want to continue to serve these students. Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, I've got an opening next week. Would you be open for me to come back and actually take a look at how you're actually performing these services with your team?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've got an opening next week at 2, but you let me know when do you actually run the program? I'm going to make myself available.
Okay.
And that's how you kind of work that.
That was good.
Well, thank you. Okay. So, how did you feel before coming on Pitch Perfect Live?
I was a little nervous. But I mean, I trust you. I know that you were like, I'm gonna reel you out there, but I'm gonna bring you back.
Yeah.
And so, since I knew that, what to expect, but it opened my eyes to what I should be doing next, and just more research that I want to do too.
Yeah. You'll definitely want to research these directors and nail down even more what their pain points are and how they're currently serving these students. Because once you get the picture of what their everyday looks like, you can speak to it and bring down that defense even faster so that they can open up and tell you exactly what they're doing currently. And then all you have to do is take what you currently have and fill in the gaps with the services that they've already shared with you that they need. And then book the next step. It might not be, hey, let me come in and do a whole workshop. It might just be, let me come in and see what you're currently doing. So that I can give a proper diagnosis or so that I can give a proper program. It might not be a whole one size fits all, whatever it is.
Right.
But the getting them open enough to say, okay, she can come in and let's discover if we can partner together here. Because that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're trying to do. All right. That 30 minutes, I tell you, it goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. Listen, y'all, if you want to be the next guest on Pitch Perfect Live, just go to my website, NicciWillis.com, NicciWillis. I got one more last thing for you to do, Angela. I need you to let everybody know where they can find you. And again, guys, on this replay tomorrow, I will have that information in the description below. So take it away, Angela. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook under Clabiorne Business Services and on Instagram under Clabiorne Biz. That's my two preferred.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. I will have that information below in the description. And hey, if you need these types of services, you got her right here. She was just on Pitch Perfect Live. All right, y'all. Well, I tell you what, have a great rest of your week. If you don't know if your pitch is landing, I want you to hit the link below. It is my free pitch readiness assessment. It's a few questions that's going to help you discover if your pitch is actually landing. I've got some resources coming up. I can't wait to present them to you next week. So make sure you come back next Tuesday, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody. Somebody said this was a great strategy. You're going to make some great partnerships with this method. Best to you, Angela. All right. Thank you, guys. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Angela. Bye.
Bye.